A producer inside of our community recently had a huge win, and I wanted to share it with you because I think there are two things that you can take away from his win that'll help you if you're a producer trying to get your music placed in TV and film and take it to a whole nother level. So let's check it out. Let's scroll to these wins, and if you're wondering which website I'm on, just comment the word hub. I'll shoot you a link so you can check it out. But shout out to Philip Bailey. He got 6 new TV placements, which is absolutely crazy. So let's check out what he had to say. He says, I remember watching one of Clint's YouTube videos about him saying that a lot of his placements have come from songs that were a part of an album. Well, here is a perfect example of that. I woke up this morning to check my royalty statement and found out that a couple of songs I produced in 2023, which were a part of an album, got placed on 2 episodes of Married to Medicine on the Bravo network and 4 episodes of Love and Marriage Huntsville on the OWN network. For the record, this album that I worked on 2 years ago, has racked up over 50 placements already and is still going. I wanted to share this for anyone that needs motivation. Keep creating, keep submitting, because this is proof that one project can get you countless placements. So let's dig into this win, and I want to point out these 2 things that I think will help you on your journey. So the first thing is that I mentioned that producing music for full albums when it comes to production music libraries, like, is a cheat code, because I've noticed that anytime I've produced music for an album versus just submitting 1 or 2 tracks to a publisher, usually ended up in me getting more placements with just taking one shot, right? So that publisher just submitting that one album, and I'm sure they probably submit multiple albums, but as far as works that I've contributed to, if, say I did 5 tracks on an album, they submit that whole album. What I found is that most of those tracks end up getting placed on multiple episodes on whatever show. So let's take Married to Medicine, for example. I've produced some music for that show as well. Me and Philip might even have some placements on the same episodes, which would be super dope. But what I found is that they won't just take like one track from the album, right? A lot of times I found they'll take multiple tracks from that one project and spread it throughout the season of A Married to Medicine. Or I've even seen multiple tracks from that album get placed in a single episode of a show, and then continue to kind of use different tracks from that album throughout the season. So I think it's a super dope way to automatically like increase the chances of you getting more placements with just one body of work being submitted versus just keep continuing to do these like one-off submissions, right? Here's a track, here's 2 tracks. No, here's a whole album that has a theme. Let's take dramedy, for example. Say you have one album that is dramedy themed, or it's just centered around dramedy music, and then you submit that. So now they have all this music from you, and 9 times out of 10, they're probably going to use more than one track on whatever that show is. So that's like lesson number 1, is like, if you can either submit a body of work that has multiple tracks consistent with one theme, or if a publisher reaches out to you to be a part of an album, of a themed album, say yes, because it'll probably end up in you getting more placements. All right. So the second thing I pulled away from this was that, if you didn't notice, he mentioned he produced these tracks back in 2023. So at the time of recording this video, that's almost 2 years. That's over 2 years ago, which is crazy. And it just goes to show you how powerful sync can be, because he produced that music in 2023. He did the work one time, but it's continuing to pay him years after he did the work initially. And he didn't have to do any new additional work. He submitted it back then and he was done. He went on to other projects, went on to produce new music, but this old music is still working for him. And this is all from one project. He also said from these tracks he produced over 2 years ago, they've racked up over 50 placements already, and it's still going, which is crazy. So he showed us a screenshot of some of the, like, you know, the placements that he's gotten, but now he's getting quarterly royalty checks from BMI from work that he did one time in 2023. So imagine if you only produce like one project for a publisher and that one project got you 50 placements. Like, would it be worth it to learn how to pitch, how to prepare, and how to produce placement ready music for TV if like that one project you land could get you 50 placements and trigger those royalties to start kicking off every quarter for you for like, I don't know, like however long they end up lasting? These tracks probably won't slow down. I know I personally have music that I produced like back in 2016 that are still getting new placements in 2025, which is crazy, but it's super powerful. So that was the second key takeaway. So again, this is a huge win. Shout out to Philip Bailey inside the Sync Producer Hub for landing 6 new TV placements. Obviously, he's already been getting placements because he's putting in the work, and he's putting in repeatable work so that he can get repeatable results. And when you know what to do and how to do it, you're able to get results like this. So this is super huge. But those key takeaways is, number one, produce 4 albums, for production music albums that will increase the chances of you getting placements instead of just submitting 1 or 2 tracks every other month. It's going to be slow for you to pick up traction if you're submitting that slow and that low amount of tracks, right? Unless you're composing for like commercials and custom briefs and things like that. It's going to take a minute to get that momentum going. But if you can be a part of like a body of work, usually you can kind of get that momentum going a little bit faster. And then number 2 is just knowing like you're going to sit down, you're going to do the work one time, and that work will continue to pay you years after you've done the work initially without doing any additional work. And that's the power of Sync. So if you're a producer and you want to learn how to get your music placed in TV and film and learn how to monetize your music so you can start getting quarterly royalty checks like Philip's getting, then hit the link in the description, check out Sync Producer Hub, and we'll help you out. We'll show you how to do it, and we'll support you along the way. All right, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.